Hello and welcome to the English Podcast Lab. I'm Mike, and today we're going to be diving deep into Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
Oh, a fantastic choice.
Yeah, it's a book that I think really explores the human spirit's ability to find meaning even when faced with really unimaginable suffering.
Absolutely.
And joining me to unpack this incredible work is Sarah, our expert guide,
Hello.
ready to uncover some life-changing insights.
Always. Man's Search for Meaning offers some really timeless wisdom on resilience and purpose and the potential we all have to find meaning even in those darkest of times.
Yeah, for our listener, one of the most striking things I think about this book is how Frankl observed that prisoners in Nazi concentration camps during World War II who had a why to live for were much more likely to survive. They found purpose in love, in work, even in their suffering itself.
That's right. And Frankl highlights that even when we can't control our circumstances, we do always have the freedom to choose our attitude and our response. He calls this the last human freedom, and it's such an empowering concept.
It is. Can you maybe give our listener an example of how this last human freedom played out in the camps?
Sure. Frankl actually talks about a prisoner who found solace just in imagining himself giving lectures about his experiences after the war.
Wow.
And so this mental exercise, this act of choosing hope and purpose, actually helped him endure the horrors that he faced daily in the camp.
That's a powerful testament to the strength of the human spirit.
Absolutely.
Frankl himself found solace in the love he felt for his wife, even though he didn't even know if she was alive. It's amazing how love can fuel us through such unimaginable hardship.
Absolutely. Frankl believed that setting our minds on a future goal, a why to strive for, could really give us that strength to endure even the most difficult.
Yeah.
Love, work, and even suffering can become sources of meaning if we approach them with the right mindset.
And here's where it gets really interesting for our listener.
Okay.
This book introduces us to Frankl's revolutionary approach to psychotherapy called Logotherapy. It emphasizes finding meaning in life as the path to mental and emotional well-being. And it's had a profound impact on modern psychology.
Absolutely. Logotherapy goes beyond just treating symptoms. It encourages individuals to really find their unique purpose and to live in alignment with it.
Yeah, there's this powerful story in the book where Frankl asks a grieving patient what would have happened if the patient had died first. And this seemingly simple question actually helps the patient reframe his suffering as a sacrifice, and he ends up finding a new kind of meaning.
Yes, that's such a perfect example of the transformative power of shifting our perspective.
Yeah.
Frankl believed that suffering stops being suffering the moment it finds meaning.
Right.
It's all about finding that why that allows us to face any how.
So this reminds me of another key concept in logotherapy.
Okay.
Paradoxical intention.
Yes.
Can you explain what that is for our listener?
Of course. Paradoxical intention is a technique where you intentionally try to do the very thing that you are afraid of. So for example, if you're afraid of public speaking, you might intentionally try to make yourself blush or stammer.
Oh, wow.
It sounds counterintuitive.
I know.
But it can be surprisingly effective for overcoming fear and anxiety.
Really?
Yes.
So it's like you're outsmarting your fear by leaning into it.
Exactly.
Frankl even used paradoxical intention in the concentration camps. He was intentionally trying to have nightmares, which he was terrified of.
That's right. Even in those horrific circumstances, he was able to find a sense of control and agency through this technique.
Wow.
It's a powerful message for all of us. We have more power over our thoughts and feelings than we realize.
That's an incredibly important reminder for our listener.
Yeah.
Even when we feel trapped, there are choices we can make. Frankl emphasizes that even in the concentration camps, the prisoners still had the freedom to choose their attitude.
Yes, and that's what makes us human. It's this last human freedom that distinguishes us from animals who are driven solely by instinct. That freedom to choose our attitude is what allows us to find meaning even in the face of suffering.
That's a powerful thought. It seems like he's saying that our response to suffering, our ability to find meaning in it, is what really defines us.
I think you're exactly right. Frankl's observations about the power of choice, even in the most adverse situations, have profound implications for all of us.
So for our listener, what are your thoughts on this idea of the last human freedom?
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced this sense of having a choice, even when your circumstances seemed really dire?
And how could this concept help you face your own challenges and find meaning in those difficult situations?
It's a powerful concept worth pondering. It highlights the incredible resilience of the human spirit.
Man's search for meaning is filled with such inspiring stories.
Yeah.
Stories that remind us of our capacity for hope and for meaning, even in the face of immense adversity.
It's a book that gives us hope, and it challenges us to find our own meaning in life. Speaking of finding meaning, Frankl talks about 3 specific ways we can do that. Through work, love, and suffering.
Right.
It's not about finding meaning once and you're done. It's an ongoing journey.
It's a process of continuous self-discovery and growth.
And speaking of growth, let's delve a little deeper into each of these 3 avenues of meaning.
Sure.
Starting with work.
Sounds good.
Work is often seen as just a way to make a living, but Frankl suggests it can be so much more than that. So for our listener, how can we find meaning in our work? Let's unpack this together.
I am eager to explore this further. So Frankl really believed that work can be like this profound source of meaning because it lets us contribute to something bigger than ourselves,
Right.
gives us a sense of purpose and accomplishment.
It's not just about, bringing home the bacon, right?
Exactly.
It's about using our skills, our talents to make a positive impact.
You got it. And even if our job isn't like inherently meaningful,
Right.
we can still find ways to give it purpose.
Yeah.
We can focus on, the things that we enjoy
Right.
or connect our work to our personal values.
Yeah, it's about finding that spark of purpose in the everyday, no matter what we do.
Exactly. That's the key. Shifting our perspective. Recognizing that there's potential for meaning in every task, big or small.
Now let's turn to another really powerful source of meaning, love.
Yes.
Frankl believed that love was perhaps the most potent avenue to meaning because it connects us to something beyond ourselves.
Absolutely. Love allows us to experience that sense of belonging, intimacy, and transcendence. It can give us a reason to live even when life throws its toughest punches.
Frankl's own experiences in the camps are a testament to that.
Sure.
He was able to endure unimaginable suffering because of the love he felt for his wife, even without knowing if she was alive.
Right. It's just a profound testament to the power of love.
Yeah.
To fuel our hope and resilience.
Yeah, even in the darkest of times.
Exactly.
Now, this next one might seem a bit paradoxical to our listener.
Okay.
Finding meaning in suffering.
Right.
Frankl suggests that while it is undeniably difficult, suffering can actually be an opportunity for growth and self-discovery.
Yeah, he's not saying that we should, glorify suffering or pretend that it's not awful.
Right.
It's about recognizing that even in those dark moments,
Yeah.
a glimmer of meaning can emerge.
Frankl observed that those who found meaning in their suffering were often the ones who could endure the most. They found a way to make their pain serve a purpose.
He talks about finding meaning in the meaninglessness.
Right.
Which I think is just incredibly profound.
It is.
It's about transforming that suffering into a catalyst for growth, even if that growth is just becoming a stronger person.
These 3 avenues of meaning, work, love, and suffering, they're not mutually exclusive, are they?
No, not at all. They often intertwine and overlap.
Right. And remember, finding meaning is not a one-time event. It's a continuous journey, a process of constant self-discovery and evolution.
It is a journey worth taking.
Now, shifting gears a bit, one of the things that really struck me in Man's Search for Meaning was Frankl's observation that even in the concentration camps, there were still opportunities for choice.
Wow, that is a really powerful observation.
Yeah.
Even in the most dehumanizing and horrific conditions, those prisoners still had the freedom to choose their attitude.
It's incredible. It suggests that even when we feel completely powerless, a part of us remains free.
Exactly. And Frankl argues that this freedom to choose our attitude is ultimately what empowers us to find meaning even in the face of suffering. It's that freedom to decide how we'll respond to whatever life throws at us.
And that's a freedom no one can ever take away from us.
Frankl calls this the last of the human freedoms. And it's the essence of what makes us human.
Right.
It separates us from animals who are driven solely by instinct.
Frankl's emphasis on the power of choice, even in the face of unimaginable adversity, has profound implications for us all, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It reminds us that no matter how challenging our circumstances are, we always have a choice in how we respond.
Right.
We can either surrender to despair or find a way to give our suffering meaning. And it's a choice we make every day, and it can shape the trajectory of our entire lives.
It's fascinating how Frankl observed that the prisoners who found meaning in their suffering were often the ones who actually survived.
Yeah.
They discovered a reason to keep going, even when all hope seemed lost.
And that reason, that sense of meaning, fueled their strength, both physically and emotionally. It's so inspiring.
Man's search for meaning is filled with these inspiring stories.
Yes.
Stories that remind us that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can shine through.
It's a book that instills hope and challenges us to discover our own unique meaning in life.
Yeah.
And as Frankl reminds us, the search for meaning isn't a destination.
Right.
It's a lifelong journey of growth and self-discovery.
So for our listener, as you reflect on Frankl's message, I encourage you to ask yourself, what is the meaning of your life?
What fuels your sense of purpose and gives you direction?
How can you uncover more meaning in your daily experiences?
These are questions worth pondering, because when we discover meaning in our lives, we unlock a level of fulfillment and joy unlike anything else.
Beautifully put. Frankl's book reminds us that even in the face of suffering, life can be beautiful. And we all have the power to make it so.
I couldn't agree more. Before we move on to the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I want to touch upon another really crucial aspect of Frankl's philosophy.
Okay.
The importance of responsibility.
That's a cornerstone of logotherapy, isn't it? That's right.
Yep.
It is. For our listener, can you kind of unpack the connection between responsibility and meaning for us?
Yeah, so Frankl believed that taking responsibility was essential for finding meaning in life.
Okay.
He argued that, we are all responsible for our own choices and our actions,
Right.
even when we're facing really difficult circumstances.
So it's about taking ownership of our lives no matter what.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we have the power to create our own meaning, even when things are hard.
Frankl believed that the search for meaning wasn't passive.
Right.
It requires action.
Absolutely. It's an active process.
Mm-hmm.
It requires us to take responsibility for our lives.
Right.
And that process can lead us to a more fulfilling and meaningful existence.
He says that the meaning of life isn't something that's just handed to us. It's something we create through our choices and actions.
Right. It's very empowering.
It is.
It means we're not just victims of circumstance.
Yeah.
We have the power to shape our own destinies.
Man's search for meaning really makes us rethink how we approach our lives.
It does.
It encourages us to take responsibility for our own happiness and well-being.
For sure. It reminds us that even when things are tough, we can still find meaning and purpose.
It's a book I would recommend to anyone who is looking for a deeper understanding of themselves and what it means to be human.
I agree. Frankl's work has really had a ripple effect far beyond the field of psychology.
It's true. He really shifted the focus from just treating mental illness to helping people find meaning and purpose.
His approach to therapy, logotherapy, highlights how crucial it is to find meaning as a way to overcome psychological distress.
So it's not about ignoring our problems,
No.
but finding a way to make them meaningful.
Exactly. And his ideas have resonated with people from all walks of life,
Right.
not just those who are struggling with mental health. His message of hope and resilience has inspired so many people to find their own meaning.
And it's amazing how his work is still being studied and applied today,
I know.
in everything from psychology and education to business.
It speaks to the universality of his message.
Yeah.
We all crave meaning. We all want to feel like our lives have purpose.
Absolutely. And Man's Search for Meaning shows us that even in the midst of suffering, that meaning can be found.
Such a powerful message, and it's never been more relevant than it is today. You know, we're living in a time of constant change and uncertainty.
Yeah, so many people are struggling to find their place in the world.
And Frankl's work gives us a guide for navigating these challenges.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds us that we have that power to choose our attitude,
Yeah.
to find meaning in our experiences,
Right.
and to build a life that is both fulfilling and purposeful.
Man's Search for Meaning is a true classic.
It is.
A book I believe everyone should experience.
It has the power to change your life.
It certainly had a profound impact on mine.
And it continues to inspire and challenge readers all over the world.
So for our listener, as we wrap up this deep dive into Man's Search for Meaning, I encourage you to reflect on what resonated with you most.
What gives you that sense of meaning and purpose?
How can you apply Frankl's insights to your own life? And how can you find even more meaning in those everyday experiences?
These are powerful questions worth exploring.
They are.
When we discover meaning in our lives, it unlocks a level of fulfillment and joy unlike anything else.
Frankl's book is a testament to the power of the human spirit to find meaning, even in the face of suffering. It reminds us that life, even with its challenges, can be beautiful.
Absolutely. We all have the power to make it so.
And before we go, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more deep dives into incredible books and ideas. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep searching for your own meaning.